introduce the team then as well. So Chloe, you have been on, but let's say hello, please. You and Helen.
Oh, hang on, there's too many people. Where's Helen? I've lost Helen, I'm sorry.
Okay. Right, so this is Chloe, the boss, queen of the admin. As you saw, she had to sort me out here by spotlighting the wrong people and all sorts. And she's doing a sterling job as always. And then, of course, we have Lady H, Helen Bailey. Where are you hiding, Helen?
I'm here, hi.
There we go. So Helen is the one putting in all the tech advice and information for you. We have a guest with maybe a special appearance tonight. So we have the lovely Linda Ferber and maybe Shylock if he's willing to. If he makes an appearance, Linda will introduce Shylock. So
a little shy.
Thank you kindly for joining us, Linda.
Well, good to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Oh, you're a star for volunteering. Everybody volunteers. Say I asked you, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so we have some questions to go through with Linda as we do with everyone, but Linda has some information as well about things that she's been involved in, even a short video. So this is just going to just go as it normally does. And at whatever point, Linda, you want to show your video or whatever, you have the hosting skill there to share your screen. So
okay.
Just want to take some questions or we can move along at whatever way you want to go, okay?
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, so yeah, so don't forget your questions, folks, into the chat box. Chloe will deliver them to Linda there at different intervals as we go through, okay? So, right, Linda, I have the list of questions here, okay? So we're going to scrutinize you now. So,
all right.
Linda, the first question, what got you into wood turning? How did you manage to fall into that awful hobby?
Oh, yeah, it was a wonderful journey. After my dad retired, he took a class at his local VOTEC on how to make furniture. And I became his biggest customer. And he eventually said, I'm not going to make anything more for you unless you help. So I started helping my dad in his shop. And I really enjoyed it. A lot of my tasks were gophers or get me this, or I was his safety backup person. But at some point then he, like a lot of woodworkers, started going to auctions and buying things. When it came time for him to sell off his equipment, at his auction, I bought a lathe and a workbench, thinking, well, this way I can continue working with wood. So I had this lathe, and it was a Sears tube lathe that my uncle owned prior to my dad buying it. And I decided I better learn how to use it. My dad never did. And so I took a class at the Woodcraft store with Alan Lacer. He lives in that time, he lived in the metro area as well. So I made a cottonwood bowl, and then Alan said, join the local chapter, join AAW. So I did both of those things. So that started my journey.
Excellent. And my God, Linda, have you come a long way? Because I do know of my own personal experience, when people are in trouble or need help with the AAW, it was normally your name that came up. Can you tell us a little bit how you got involved with the AAW?
Well, like I said, Alan Lacer recommended it. So I became a volunteer at AAW. They, at that time, were opening up the galleries. So occasionally they needed a volunteer. And I did help them move into the Landmark Center. So they had a job opening back in 2007. And fortunately, I got the job and worked there for 13 years.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, so I'm before we go up about some of your personal turnings and that, I know you've many achievements and some of the things that you were involved in the founding of. So can you tell a little bit about the WIT?
Oh, yes. I have many favorite parts of wood turning in the wood turning community, but the WIT committee is one that is very precious to me. It's founded in 2014, and a group of women that decided that we need to strengthen and support other women. So the committee was formed, and it was decided to be a committee of AAW instead of a virtual chapter. So with that committee, we have tried to make a community to support and encourage women that are finding their way to wood turning.
Excellent.
So,
Thank you very much. Yeah, and when we're mentioning IRDs, you're dipping your toe into this area as well. Tell us a bit about your IRDs and what you're going to do for us all in upcoming events.
well, I have started my local chapter, the Minnesota Woodturners, has started doing IRDs for the chapter members 2 or 3 Tuesdays a month. So a lot of the members are called upon to do these. And so I've done 3 of them so far. So slowly getting the equipment and refining my topics. I have another one coming up on Tuesday, but I'm finding this is really enjoyable and something I really, I don't know, it's just very enjoyable, and I want to explore it further.
I think you're just enjoying more hard work, Linda. You don't like retirement. Okay. So, Linda, the first pieces that you turned, tell us about the first pieces you ever turned.
Oh, you know, one of the first was that cottonwood bow with Alan Lacer, but when I started turning, I was lucky to spend 2 hours a week in the shop. And so I would take every class that I could with a chapter, and I, you know, just welcome and jump from one project to the next. And all of these pieces were very fun, and I could do them in the class, and then I'd get home and I'd say, well, what am I to do? So I decided that I needed to take a different direction with my turning and learning experience. So what I did is stopped and set myself a goal of 1 skill per year. So the first year I chose platters. So the entire year I made platters only. And the next year it was something else, and the following year boxes. But it really, I spent a year on mushrooms too, but it really helped me focus, and I learned a lot from the classes that I could apply to that dedicated project of that year, finding that a slight variance in the cut, a 1/4 inch here, a hair's breadth on the shape, it really helped me focus in and refine.
That's actually really good advice. Hone your skills on one particular project, even if you do spend the year at. Would you recommend that then, Linda, to beginners maybe to stick at that area?
Yes, absolutely. I really understand when you're starting something new, everything is exciting and you hope to try everything. And you can try everything, but just stopping and taking a moment and building your skills. And the way to build your skills is practice. And in order to practice, it's good to have a project because you feel like you've done something. So making a set of platters, making, 8 platters that you can use for you know, your lunches. We had I'm in a book club, and last November for book club, I made, with help of Roseanne Gold, 10, well, actually we made 20 platters, and everyone got to go home with a little platter that they had their dessert on. But setting small goals that just give you a chance to work on one skill set.
That's excellent. A lovely idea with the platters for your lunch. That's really good. Yeah. So you must have developed a love for particular tools. So come on, tell us, what's your favorite? What's Linda Ferber's go-to?
Yeah. Yeah, there's two tools that I always grab first. One's, it's the Thompson bowl gouges, and then the Hunter tool, the Viceroy. Those two are the first ones I grab.
Excellent. Can't beat the quality. So,
Yeah.
what was your eureka point, Linda? When did it say? When did you know I have this? I know what I'm doing here.
Oh, I don't know if I have that yet, you know? It's there, you have to keep pushing yourself, trying to get a little bit better. You know, you look at the current thing you have made, and you critique it and say, what do I like? What can be better?
Yeah, very good point. So you've worked with some very amazing people. Turn around and smile for the camera, Linda.
Which one? Thank you, Tom. He's back from his beer run.
Okay, so you've worked with some amazing people. So whether they're woodturners, potters, or ceramicists, who would have your influences been during your career?
You know, you, that I have given a lot of in consideration, and your show and tell today was an excellent example of everyone showing their passion, and people that have a passion and share it inspire me. What inspires me, all the women working on the WIT committee, Kathleen Duncan, Janet Collins, Andy Wolf, Jean Le Guin, Dixie Briggs, Marie Anderson, Linda Bitt. Those women are inspiring. All the men and women that run the chapters, they're serving the wood turning committee, all the organizations and the people that are trying to pivot and do virtual symposiums, remote demonstrations. That's all inspiring.
Yeah, excellent. Some very inspirational people who we're very lucky to have with us today as well, some of those people. So thank you.
Yeah.
Of course, we're all here to see the famous Linda Ferber. So yeah. So Linda, has wood turning, with the wood turning evolving over the years, has your attitude changed or your approach to turning?
Oh, you know, I've been turning about 20 years now, and one interesting story from Mark Baker, he had, we talked quite often, and he had said probably 15 years ago, every time I put a colored piece on the cover, our readership drops. So that gives you an example of where we have come in the last 15 years. And also, I remember very fondly an exchange with a man in our chapter. He was a surgeon, a heart surgeon, educated man. He called himself a woodturner. And he was showing me a bowl he made. And he said, oh, there's just only so many bowls my family will take. So I have tried something new. In this bowl, I've tried to show how a stone dropped in water causes a ripple effect. And so he's telling me what he sees in this bowl, what he put into it. And I told him he was quite an artist. And he looked at me like I had defamed his name for some reason. But I think that is changing. People are accepting the label Woodturner, but also accepting and embracing being an artist.
Yes, without a doubt, and based on our little bit of an impromptu show and tell here this evening, the amount of artistic additions to the pieces, I think it's great that people are trying different things, different methods. So yeah, brilliant.
Yes, absolutely. And every one of them had a passion for what they made.
Exactly. Yes, definitely. I agree with you. It was great to hear people speaking so, excitedly about their own work, which I think is really good. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so this dreaded virus, Linda, how has that affected your wood turning career, business, however way you want to describe it?
Yeah, it's like starting a new chapter, and it's been wonderful. I have more time in the shop than I ever in my life had, and I've been taking advantage of that. I have been taking online classes on drawing and painting. I've been working with a small group of women on a collaborative, and we talk via Zoom every week and exchange ideas and work on this collaborative. There is a woman that I've been mentoring for several years, and she still comes over once a week. So a lot of things to try to keep connections. That's one of the things I miss the most is seeing people in person. And like Ron Campbell says, all those hugs, I miss all of that.
Yeah, all the wonderful events. I know Zoom has been a great standby or stand in, if you like, but yeah, we do miss out.
Mhm.
Chloe, how are we doing on questions, Chloe?
No questions at the moment, just all lovely comments.
Oh, yeah. Well, it is the lovely Linda Ferber, as the ladies have listened. So, yeah, so this is your opportunity to ask Linda some questions, guys. Please take the chance. Linda, at what point do you want to show your recording, by the way? Whatever suits you.
It's a shop tour and it's 1 minute and 42 seconds. So I think we'll leave that excitement till the end.
That's okay, and it doesn't matter what it is.
It's
sure,
pretty short.
lots of people have seen your special toy that you pose beside in your promo.
Yes, my dream machine.
Okay, so yeah, we're flying through the questions here, Linda. So we're going to have to do a little bit more with you as this progresses.
Okay, all right.
So basically, Linda, the advantages of symposiums and woodwork shows, and who better to ask about symposiums other than you?
Oh, at the AAW symposiums, it was the best time of year. And during those 4 days, you just got to see every friend you ever had. And the time passes way too quickly. I think as people that work alone in our shops mostly, we should put ourselves out, encourage each other to be part of the community. And what better way to do that is go to symposiums, go to retreats, take classes, all of those activities to get inspiration, share your passion, find out what others in the community are doing.
Excellent. Well, I know from personal experience anyway, you really put me at ease my first time over there. So I'm going to thank you kindly for having yourself and Cynthia Gibson. I was like a lost child walking around, and only for you two ladies, I was in trouble. So thank you kindly. Okay, so here's the bone of contention question, Linda. You know what's coming, don't you? Carbide.
Oh, yes. Yes, yes.
Are you a carbide lady or a traditional tool lady?
Well, I have heard many say, and I agree that when you have a finished product, no one knows whether you used um, a traditional tool, a carbide tool, or just sandpaper. I think we need to encourage everyone to get started and to support them in their journey to learning. And a lot of people can pick it up easy with a carbide tool. And there's a lot of times that um, a carbide just is what works best. I do have mostly the traditional tools and use those, but there's a few non-traditional as well. It's, you know, when I was working in vendor areas, many times I'd hear lectures how traditional, how conservative, how unwilling the community is in embracing tools, new tools or traditions. And I have to agree, we need to look at what will get people excited and feeling comfortable and willing to learn. You know, all of the stores, they can sell tons of lace, tons of turning tools, but unless the person takes the time and is encouraged and learns how to use these tools and equipment, they won't be a customer any longer.
That's a lovely answer, Linda. Yeah, just encourage people and enjoy it. And the end result is a nice piece that you're happy with. Happy days. Nice.
Yes.
Thank you.
And how it goes. I made this and I didn't kill myself.
I survived. Exactly. Chloe, I think I've seen a couple of questions there. If you would like to throw those in, please.
Yeah, we do have a couple. Marie is asking, what started you carving the birds?
Oh, you know, one of the projects I've been working on since retirement is trying to archive and put my pictures together. And I was really surprised how long I've been putting birds on my work. Um, it has really progressed and changed from simple painting to wood burning to now carving. But it's been quite a while. I found a piece that Don Derry had done during one of his rotations at the AAW symposium. And he had given me his demo piece and he's wrote on it, Linda's Birds. So I think it's been something I've always been interested in.
Perfect. Let's see, we have a question from Alan, and he's kind of wondering, how did you go to get such big recognition? Did you kind of purposely pursue the woodturning world or just fall into it?
Oh, you know, I think I'm basically a fairly shy person, but if I want something, education, I put myself out there. And by doing that, you you don't go away just because people don't encourage women at the time. 20 years ago, I just pursued it and kept trying to gather as much experience and learning as I could. And I think a lot of it is because of working AAW. I was, as part of my job, an ambassador for wood turning. So part of that was listening to people, listening to what they felt was important, what was their passion, and sharing that with people. You know, just sharing what excites people.
Absolutely. From what we've heard, people who are signed up to meet the Woodturner, they all start with, I've met Linda, she's lovely. Linda's so kind. So I think you connect really well with people, and they definitely, you leave an impression with them, that's for sure. Let's see, there's another one from Marie. She's asking, could you please tell us more about what you're doing with the acrylic pours?
With the what?
The acrylic pours?
Oh, yes, yes. That was one of the demos we did for the chapter. And one of the years when I was early on in turning was mushrooms. And I've had just as long a time with mushrooms as with the birds. And I started making mushrooms, then went into mushroom boxes. And then I saw some acrylic pours at Ron Campbell's retreat and a demonstration by Carroll Hall. And so I thought, well, this is something I need to try. So one thing I did do is make mushroom boxes. And I thought, that is the best place to put this acrylic pours is on top of the mushrooms. So that gave me a chance to put wild and crazy colors on top of mushrooms. But I've tried it on a lot of things. At one point, Roseanne and I were doing so much acrylic pour that we couldn't keep up with turning items. So we were going to Goodwill and finding all the wood products at Goodwill so we could paint and pour.
Perfect. Let's see, I just had a question in there. Have you had any experience getting younger people involved in turning, and what would your advice be on that?
Oh, yes. That's another area that is really dear to me. There's been a few things that I've done for teaching woodturners, and one started with Kip Christensen. He did a lot with youth turning in Utah, and of course the AEW with the turning for the youth at the symposium. But Kip put me in touch with the people at AWFS, and through that connection, we started at AW Turning to the Future. And that was an exhibit for young turners to encourage their work and give them some recognition. And on a more local project, a woman in our metro area had a group of Girl Scouts, and she at the time was trying to find projects for the girls to work on to keep them in scouting. And so we started turning classes for Girl Scouts. And this was something the girls could get only by continuing the Girl Scouts. So we had first some turning classes to teach some of the Scout leaders so they could help us be teaching assistants. Then we brought in the girls, and we had classes at our chapter. So we could take eight girls per session, and each student had a chapter member helping and mentoring them. And through that, then the Scout leader wrote a grant with AAW and was given a lathe. And so she has a lathe now for the Girl Scout troop.
Wow, you're involved in a lot. You're doing fantastic work. Let's see, Roseanne is asking if your daily nature walks inspire your current work.
Oh, yes. Hi, Roseanne. Absolutely. I've been experimenting and carving, and there's some things that I have shown up in my work. Um, Branding and carving pine cones, maple helicopters, and trees. One of the recent pieces had 3 trees showing the roots and how the communication through the trees supports the whole community. So yes, it does show up.
Let's see. There's a lot of people in the comments are kind of mentioning they love seeing you at symposiums, and somebody had said when you're not at them, they really notice the effect. So Glenn is asking, will you be back in attendance when they go back to kind of being in person? Are you kind of taking a step back from them?
Oh no, I hope to be there, and I hope to be a volunteer. So I hope to go as many as I can.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Buy your tickets. So perfect. I'll throw that back to you now, Dad.
Okay, thanks, Chloe. Great job on the questions. Yeah, somebody asked there about all the comments and links in the chat box. Chloe will, as always, edit this to take out the unnecessary and send it out in an email after. So don't worry if you're missing anything that Linda is mentioning.
No.
Thank you kindly, Chloe. Linda, every question that you've been given, you're always giving to somebody else. You've helped somebody else, you're promoting somebody else. You're just so nice, Linda, and helpful. So thank you. And everybody is saying there, what Chloe was saying there about the events, about it not being the same. I don't possibly think you would go to an event and sit there as a volunteer. I think you will be running the show, Linda, once you show up. So
I hope so. I hope I have done demonstrations at several regional symposiums, and if the world changes and allows this to be, whether it's in combination of remote and in person, I still hope to be involved. Teaching has been always important to me, and I hope to continue as a teacher.
and I think we can all say we hope so too, Linda. Definitely. Yeah. And I think Ron Campbell summed it up there. He said, you're a great ambassador for woodturning. Definitely a great ambassador. Okay, Linda, so just another couple of questions and before we get on to some of your work. The future of woodturning, Linda, where do you see it going?
Oh, you know, in thinking about that, woodturners are one of the few woodworking type skills that we solely identify with one machine. And I really love my robust, and but I'm thinking we're slightly embracing carving, not slightly. We are full bore embracing carving, wood burning, branding, acrylics, getting away from wood, embracing other machines. And I firmly believe people have to make, whether it continues being solely identified with one machine, or the machine is operated differently. Computers, different materials. I think things will change, but people will still need to make. And while I embrace all of that, I think making by hand using machines as a method, a tool, will continue. And I don't know if it'll still be labeled wood turning.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with you. I would hate to see the wood turning being lost in the art. I would like to see the evidence of the wood turning in it myself as well. Yeah.
Well, you know, I personally, and I think a lot of people as well, you know, you get inspired and want to do carving and branding, but every once in a while a bull sneaks in there.
Very true, very true. Okay, Linda, so your favorite piece of work,
Oh,
favorite piece?
you know, I feel like in some ways I'm just beginning, and it's always been the latest one, the last one. So you can look at, this is what I can do today, and explore it. Look at it, hopefully with a critical eye. Um, what do you like? What worked? What went wrong? And you recovered. It's the problem solving and figuring out the next piece. It's always the work yet to be.
Yeah, the potential.
Yes.
Okay, so Linda, could we see some of your work, please?
Oh, sure. I put out some things from one of my recent collections, but just a second while I get some here. I
So
put out,
there's lots of Linda or folks into the chat box. As I said, don't worry about missing any. Chloe will send them out, so don't worry about anything there. Okay, but feel free to add in anything you can.
okay.
So a fantastic array of work Linda has laid out for us. So
Yes, this piece I recently made, and it's a river birch platter, and it has the 3 trees that I mentioned, the canopy, the leaves, and then the root system where the trees are communicating. And a lot of this was influenced by my major walks, but also influenced by some of the conversations that I've had with the group Sally Alt, Janice Weeks, and Anna Lapagard. We're working on a collaborative, and this has been inspired by that. This piece I just finished this week, and it is red elm, and it has a round bottom, so it finds its own edge. And here again, the trees, the canopies, and the leaves. So, but these pieces are really exciting. Did you want to talk about those?
whatever you care to share, Linda, I'm more than happy to listen, as I think most people are.
Okay. When I retired, they had started sending me tops, and Linda's tops. And I have 2 scrapbooks full of letters from people I've met along the way that, oh, they're just heartwarming. But these pieces of tops are just examples of what have been sent. They, a lot of people took the time to put their individual style and thought signature work into the tops. I don't know how well you can see that. I had some trouble setting up the lighting.
Reasonably good view from here, Linda. If you have any particular pieces you want to talk about, by all means.
Okay. Well, this one is Kayla Gett, and she had incorporated metal in her top. John Beaver in his wave bowl. Donna Zills Banfield, her Soul series. onto that top. Troy Grimwold, you can see the branding and the feathers. And Alan and Brendan Miyake in the basket weave, and it's segmented. And here's a beautiful basket illusion, top and bottom, and as well as the handle. Doug Snyder from Colorado. Johannes Mikkelsen turned a hat, a top hat. Graham Priddle and Melissa Engler. But each one is more beautiful than the other. Jim Christensen, a carved flowers. And look at this. Isn't that beautiful?
Gorgeous.
Pat and Karen Miller. And you can't have a top without something from John Sauer on his OT lathe. Dewey Garrett, also ornamental turning. Rudy Lopez. Oh my. John Lucas. There's a stand, a large top, and a mirror. I'm sorry, if you're not seeing these well, let me know.
Okay, Linda, yeah, it's yeah, John Lucas, excellent work as well, yeah, brilliant.
Yeah. Jason Breach, you'll recognize the pagoda box. It comes apart in 3 pieces.
Really nice.
Yeah. Jean Colley, carved woodburn, gold leaf, a little box. And this one, yes. PJ Rogers sent me this box and top and said, please embellishment. So I finished that off. I think this is Andy Chin, and you can see how tight of fit that little top is inside the box. And you know, there's always people that send appreciation but don't follow the guidelines. Nick Cook sent that platter. Just wonderful. And I had over here a few other items that people sent that weren't tops. You can recognize this, Steve Sinner, a beautiful piece. And this bowl, if you went to the AEW symposium, you'll recognize this bowl. It was made by Glenn Lucas during the symposium, and he had inscribed and sent that to me. And this is Mark Sapiri. It's not a top, but he said something for the top. And here's a little monster by Tim Wadley. So there's a lot of tops. I have 2 bowls off to the side. They didn't all fit in on the top of the table. But one thing that has been such a delight during symposiums is the World of Wood Turning exchanges. And I have a very passionate for boxes, and I have a lot of boxes that were from WOW exchanges. Can you see them on the shelf there?
Uh,
A little bit.
Ireland, if you have a couple of favorites, maybe you could bring over to the camera for us to see if you don't mind.
Okay. This is Julio. Oh my. I know his last name, Marjo, but I can't. Help me out, Pat. Can you pronounce his last name for me? Julio.
Anybody there pronounce that better than me?
Well, we all know Julio, and this is a off-center box from him. Mike Peace. This one is just awesome. Pat and Karen Miller.
Lovely.
Malcolm Ray. Excellent feathers. I think I have something from Glenn here. I'm not sure where it is right at the moment, but this set of mushrooms on the shelf, I turned, that was from wood from Vicki Jordan for her beloved tree. I think I have a piece of Harvey's that we exchanged at one of the WOW swaps, and then Jason Clark.
Pieces.
Yes. This box is really interesting. This was made from Amanda in my chapter, Craig Glossing, and he is a very well-known woodturner, has pieces in the Waterbury collection and in museums. And the first year that I was turning, the chapter had a Christmas exchange, and Craig and I exchanged. So I got that beautiful box, and he got a hunk of walnut that was supposed to look like a light bulb. So he was extremely gracious, but nonetheless, I got the better end of that exchange.
Well,
But
I can only wonder that one, Linda, because we've seen some of your pieces there, and your work is lovely as well. So don't be underestimating your work. But you definitely need to catalogue all those, Linda, so we can all get some really good pictures, because the amount of talent on that table and the names that you've mentioned, to be, wow, fantastic.
yes, I have been trying to post them on Instagram with the names of the makers. So I don't know from there if I'm gonna try to do a Shutterfly book or something, but they are really worthy of an exhibit. Here is one that I should mention, Jason Clark, and it is, you can see that is extremely thin, and that centerpiece does move in his signature zebra work. This over here is polymer clay from Walt Wagers. So it's an amazing collection. And more than anything, it's a collection of friends.
What a lovely group of friends you have to give you items.
Yes.
There's a lot of mentions of WIT, Linda.
Yes.
I run a similar meeting to this based on Meet the Woodturner, where they interview people as well. So people
Yes.
out as well, because the whole thing here is the same as Linda ourselves. We just want to promote wood turning, male, female, doesn't matter, but the more organizations that do it, the better. So with people like Linda behind it, it's been a success, thankfully.
Yeah, if we can talk about that for just a minute, there is a couple things coming up. The WIT Presents is every month, and that is similar in the essence that it's not a demonstration, but a talk through a person's journey, their history of where they have gone. But also the WIP committee has for the last few years had a wit exchange in person at Airmont each fall. This year, of course, like everything else, it had to be canceled. So that it will be going virtual as well, and things will be rolling out very soon. Oh, I should say the WIT Presents is open to all AAW members. It's not open solely to women, it is all members. But getting back to the WIT exchange being virtual, we will be following the same pattern as the live event, which was putting a team of 3 women together on a collaborative. And the goal was to mix of skill levels, a beginner, intermediate, and advanced. And those 3 people, I captured him. Here's Shiloh. Say hi. Say hi.
Hi there, Shiloh.
He may not stay very long. But this year it's going virtual. So the teams will be encouraged to mix their skill level and maybe mix and work with women they aren't necessarily acquainted with at the beginning, or work with people in the chapter. So the teams will be given 2 words and a time frame. And with those 2 words, they need to create pieces of work. And then it will end in a virtual instant gallery of all of this work. And if you go to Facebook under Women in Turning, you can see works from previous years. But working on the collaborative is just, it really is a skill building, confidence building, all of those good things that you can get with sharing your work with someone else, contributing, sharing ideas, sharing experiences.
Excellent. Thanks for all that information, Linda. And the ladies are putting in all that information in the chat box there. Some of your
Good.
Your friends and some of Lady H is putting in some links there. Okay, so you've shown us some work. We've asked you a good series of questions. Chloe, any more questions in the chat box there that we're missing?
No, nothing that Helen or a couple of others haven't found links for, so we're sorted there.
Okay, well, I can see there's lots of praise for you anyway. I'm not surprised at that whatsoever, Linda. So, okay. So, do you want to show your studio now, if that's okay?
Okay, we can try that shop tour. And like I said, it's 1 minute and 42 seconds. So don't blink or leave your screen.
Okay, so
just a second, I have to push the share button.
take your time.
Okay. There we are. Welcome. This is a very conveniently located shop in the basement.
Okay.
That is my workbench, and that is where I work on carving, wood burning, and painting. Under the stairs is the ducks collections system, and a little bit of a glimpse at some of my wood. Swinging it around, we have the sharpening, grinding station, my capable shop assistant and video crew, and on the far workbench are some tools I inherited from my father. Drill press, belt sander, chop saw, and a couple of his signs. Also on this workbench is my small portable Bonnie Klein lathe. It's most excellent for taking to shows and small projects. The star of my shop is this robust Sweet 16, made just for Linda. It's my dream machine, and it performs beautifully. Well, you've seen it all. Thank you. It didn't take long, did it?
How many people can say they've had a lathe made specially for Linda? Oh, that's wonderful, Linda. You're
Yes.
tidy in your workplace.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Very tidy in your workplace.
Oh, yes. There is one of the chapter members was blind, and we had a gathering, a party here and a shop tour, and he says, "Oh, Linda, your shop is so neat, so clean." And he says, "How can you tell? You're blind." And he said, "I can feel with my feet."
Oh, yeah, well, things we take for granted, aren't, isn't it? We just kick it away, so.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
we're only an hour in, like, and I don't know, there's so much more we could talk about here tonight, but yeah, your career with the AAW, I'm going to invent a few more questions for you here.
Okay, all right.
Don't worry, don't be too bad, but I'm always curious, the likes of the AAW, such a large symposium, and people arrive the day before to attend such a large event. How many weeks have you been flat out preparing for something like that?
Well, there are a lot of documents at the AAW, and it really is an ongoing and requires the work of a lot of people. There are things that start 5 years out, 3 years out with site selection, the team that has site selection involving the contracts and all the details. But the so each year you have work you're doing on symposiums that are 3 years out, 2 years out, and then the current year. So for the symposium, just say in 2020, starting in August, the demonstrator selection, the contracts, and materials for the journal had all been done prior to November. Then in December, this work would start for the getting the local teams up to par with their volunteer tasks in coordination of the demonstrator, Pat Carroll, that needs such and such that's only available in Ireland. How in the world are we going to find it? Type of chores, to all the tools, all the lathes in all of that equipment. Then the video crew selections that started at this time of year for 2020, all the interviewing, checking references for the video crews. So when January of the year, symposium year hits, you have your demonstrators, you have your video crew, and then you start working on the volunteers that run the instant gallery, the merchandise, the registration, and all of those. So it really is ongoing. At each month, you have certain tasks that are for this year's, next year's, and the year into the future. So by the time you get into May, then that's when you hate it when someone says it's 4 weeks out, because packing that semi for all the show materials, we had a warehouse in St. Paul that we had probably 13 pallets of show some supplies needed to be prepped and ready to get on the road. In the office, then we would have to pack all the smocks and all the t-shirts, all the supplies, the ribbons, all those little tiny details. So it is about 2 weeks out. The semi hits the road, then the staff and the volunteers start arriving.
Wow, I'm actually tired listening to you talking about it. It sounds like a monumental task, and I promise I won't be a diva when I visit again. Okay, I'm sorry.
There is always the certain amount of paperwork required to make all these things happen, and getting that paperwork in and done on time sometimes is a challenge.
I can only imagine. I have one more question for you, but just before that, I just want to say a big thanks to everybody for joining in. I know, well, I'm happy to say as long as Linda is, but just to say thanks before people drop off. Remember the Mark Baker tribute, please. If you would send me some information, we'll make that into a great event. Thanks to Helen and Chloe, sterling job as always. Lots of info in the chat box, but above all, huge thanks to the lovely Linda Ferber, as the ladies have given her that title many weeks ago when people get their new names, and richly deserved, Linda. Thank you kindly.
Thank you.
The last question, Linda, simply is, have you anything else you'd like to add to the conversation?
It's just, I look at this as making, and I need to make something, but this is a very special community, and each and every one of you here contribute to this community and make it special. I haven't met a person yet that doesn't have a wonderful story and something to contribute.
Yeah, definitely. The Woodturner, I always call it a family, and I think it's a great family. And I know we all have those few relatives we don't want people to meet, but most of them are just really, really nice people and a great bunch of people. Oh yeah, and Linda, we need to have a word about those other smocks I need. I can't get those colours. We need to come back to you on that. Having a problem, and I know you can solve it. So, okay, folks, come on. This is your opportunity to ask Linda a question just before we close up. So if you have anything else there, or throw in the praise or whatever. So Chloe, is there anything there we've missed, please?
There was a couple, I'm going to butcher this word, but somebody was asking behind you, Linda, could you talk about the balustrade, the railing, essentially? I don't know what that word is.
It's behind you, Linda.
That's the one, yeah.
So where I live, my house is built in the 80s, real contemporary. So it's 5 layers and each one of them is half stacked. So I'm in my office, which is the walkout level. So that's the dining room.
Okay. What relating to the actual craftsmanship in it, Linda? I think somebody thought they all look different, and maybe possibly some of your wood turning friends have made them. Maybe if you would like to, this is your home.
That would be an excellent idea. But no, I think these are all oak made by a machine.
Okay, so Linda made those before breakfast. Okay, that's
yeah.
I did have a couple of people get in touch. They were trying to find you and find ways to book IRDs and that with you, but you don't have a website, do you? What's the best?
No, I don't. But on the AAW site, I do have my profile, And I have Facebook and Instagram. And as soon as I can tuck my brother into doing it, I'll do a website. But I need my brother's help.
Perfect.
So,
No, that's great. And as mentioned, you know, Facebook and Instagram. And I'm so disappointed nobody had anything nice to say about that cat. That is a huge cat you've got there, but he's absolutely lovely looking.
yes, he is. He's 17 years old. So he's been with us for a while, and he definitely rules the house.
I like that. You just live there.
Yes, we're here to serve.
Exactly. Harold had a very nice comment there. He said that he can tell by your voice you are quite passionate about wood turning and a real promoter to the craft. And thanks for sharing your knowledge.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, there's literally just lovely, lovely things coming in about you. So if anybody has any questions that they'd like to throw out, somebody had asked, is the cat your shop assistant and is he for hire? If he's 17, I don't think he's up for it.
No, I don't think he wants to train in new staff. He will not go into my shop. My shop is just down the stairs here, and he sits at the top of the stairs and yells at me to keep quiet or yet to come up and pay attention to him. He will not go down there.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Okay, Chloe.
Yeah, I'm sorry, there's just loads of really nice comments. I'm just making sure I didn't miss anything.
Just checking there. Everybody knows if you have a cat, the cat owns the house. You live in
Yes.
rule the cats. They're the most disloyal creature on this planet. I'm sorry.
I completely disagree with you. Completely.
No,
Dogs.
he's very loyal, but he wants things on his terms.
Let's see. Roger was asking, what other lathes have you owned, Linda?
Oh, the very first one was a Sears tube lathe, and that I think was at the end of his life when I got it. So then the next one I bought was a Sears lathe, and that was pretty interesting. It was electronic, and it really performed much better than the previous Sears. And I owned it for 4 years. And once a year, the switch would go out. I think they didn't design it properly. There would be dust in it. So I would call Sears and say, I need to have someone repair my lathe. And they would send out the washer dryer repairman, and they wouldn't have the parts. So after the first year, I would say, this is the part I need. Please send the part and a repair person. And I don't know if they just, anyway, they wouldn't do it. They would send out the washer dryer person. So after the 4th year, I was talking to the tech and he said, well, I think you should just take it back. So I took it back to Sears after owning it for 4 years, and they gave me 100% of my money back. So in honor of that, I bought a new washer and dryer. So, and then I read articles on the AAW resources on lathes and bought a Jet 1246 or 1242 rather, and I owned that for quite a long time. So when I planned for this last lathe, and it took me about 4 years of talking to Brent and getting up the finances and the plans to buy this robust. So I sold that one to someone in the chapter. And no one asked, how did I get that robust in my basement?
So Linda, when your washing machine dryer broke down, did they send out the lathe guy to fix that?
It hasn't broken yet, so.
Okay, I hope.
Well.
Brilliant. Sorry, Chloe, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just looking through the comments. Kate, I'm so disappointed in you. We were so close to getting through this without snake talk. Let's see. Oh, Marie's asking, of all the turners you've met, who and how would you say has influenced you the most? We did put in earlier in the chat all the links to the people you mentioned, but maybe you'd like to just tell us about it yourself.
Well, you know, when people say inspired in it, a lot of people's work has inspired me, and I can mention Barbara Dill. My niece was pregnant and I wanted to make a pregnant Kokeshi doll. So I called or emailed Barbara Dill and said, Barbara, how can I do this? So she went out to her shop and made one, sent me drawings, and walked me through how to do it. I mean, what more inspiration do you need than that? I mean, it's just such a sharing community. But Betty Scarpino, what she says about the expression and having your work still reference something that can only be done on a lathe. So I think if you threw out a name, I can respond by how they've inspired me. But on the other hand, how can you not be inspired by the woman that turns that says, for 2 hours? Oh, I thought I'd get by without cracking up on this. How can you not be inspired, that says, for 2 hours? I'm not the mother of a disabled child. So,
Thank you.
Inspiration to give and share.
Yeah, you're
as much in your person as in your work.
okay, Chloe.
Absolutely, yeah. Let me see. So Helen is asking, how did you manage to get that laid in the basement? And I'm actually wondering that myself now that she's brought it up.
Yes, so apparently it comes apart, but I didn't want to take it apart and not get it back together. So so I called around, I talked to Brad, I talked to Deb, and you know, various recommendations. And so our neighbor down the street is just sort of a jack of all trades. And we had called and got estimates from things like 2 men in a truck and piano movers. And it was going to cost as much to get from the garage to the basement as it did to get it from Wisconsin here. So I talked to Mike down the street and he says, oh, I can do that. And so he got his brother and one other person, and somehow they lifted it up and carried it down the stairs. And I feel bad that I wouldn't let him take it apart, but I didn't want it to be taken apart.
Absolutely. I was wondering, I was thinking that's a really good point.
Yes, yes. The thing weighs over 400 pounds.
Oh my God. Let's see. So you mentioned that you enjoy your nature walks. Julian's asking, do you have any other passions or pastimes outside of turning and your art?
Oh, gardening. I love to get out and garden. And a lot of the joy in garden, my garden is mostly shade, so it's hostas. So arranging the plants by color and size, and that's really wonderful. My next door neighbor, Doris, and I merged our backyards, which I was down a slope, carried in every rock, made paths, and built that garden for over 20 years. And also reading. I started a book club many years ago, and here is another opportunity to share your experiences and feelings that you read through the books. So um, a lot of things sort of combine and come up in different aspects.
Absolutely. I just have to acknowledge, Helen, you're very cheeky. Helen just wrote in the chat, unfortunately, I don't have a link for Mike down the street. Sorry, guys, you'll have to sort your own way. Joan is asking, what direction do you think you're heading with your work?
Well, I'm really enjoying the carving and the painting, and I really think getting more into that, exploring more shapes. During the 20 years I've been turning, there's a lot of themes that keep coming up: the mushrooms, the platter, and the birds. And I think they will still keep to show up, but maybe in different forms. I've been watching a lot of documentaries on painting masters and different painting styles. And what impresses me is the ability to tell a story, given a piece of emotion in a work. And people say that's harder in wood, but I don't think so. I think it can be done in wood, and that's where I want to go.
That's great. It's been so nice to have you on, Linda. You still have almost 100 people still here. If there's anything else you'd like to talk about, or there's no more questions in the chat at the moment for you.
Well, I think I've said quite a bit, but I encourage you all to keep on sharing with the community, and hope to give each and every one of you a hug as soon as I can see you.
Well, Linda, I was going to say the only thing that's separating all of us at the moment is time. And hopefully time goes by in a little while, we all meet up. And Linda, I'm heading for you to get one of the biggest hugs ever, because you are the most lovely person. Everybody loves you. Everybody is just speaking so highly of you there. And, you know, just hugs coming in everywhere for you there. So thank you so much, Linda. That was wonderful. You're just such a lovely person. You really are. Thank you. And thanks for everything.
Thank you for the opportunity to talk today.
God, it's our pleasure. Thanks for volunteering.
And I didn't end up bawling, so yay.
A sterling job, phenomenal. Everybody loves you. And you know, everybody loves you even more now, because you've just been so good to people over the years, from my short work learning career anyway, knowing you, and you've just helped everybody. You're just the best.
Well, I'll put out as same as plug. I have an awesome top collection, but I haven't closed it down. If anyone that hasn't already wants to turn a top, I'm willing to add it to my collection.
Okay, that is it, everybody. We still have 90 people on here. I, for one, are going to make a top for Linda this over. So that's 90 more at least. So
yes.
We're out actually on Facebook and all our other platforms. Everybody is going to make a spinning top. And just
all right. Wonderful.
For the lovely Linda, because I think she deserves it. So yeah.
Yes.
You have made,
Mary Alice, you're gonna make a top. Yay.
and if you have made one already, why not make another? So send on another one. So Linda, we will obviously not ask you for an address on here, but we will find out how to get those to you. Okay?
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. So spinning tops for Linda. There's the cause. Excellent. Thank you very much.